This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. My call to my government: stop killing people. That's the message Noy Katzman recently gave during a eulogy for their brother Chaim Katzman, an Israeli peace activist who was killed during the Hamas attack October 7th that killed 1,400 people. Israel now says 222 hostages are still being held in Gaza after 2 were released Friday. Chaim Katzman was an academic, a peace activist, a tender of fruit trees in the Cholit kibbutz, about a mile from Gaza. He was credited with saving the lives of 3 of his neighbors on October 7th. We spoke to his Seattle, Washington rabbi just last week, because Chaim was a graduate student at the University of Washington. We're joined now by Noy Katzman, who gave the eulogy for their brother. Noy, thank you so much for being with us from Vienna. Our deepest condolences to you and your family. If you can talk about Chaim's life, and now what's being done in his name, and your thoughts on what should happen right now. I think the death toll, 1,400 Israelis from October 7th, that time, and now more than 5,000 Palestinians, and the number increases even as this show airs.
Do you hear me?
We hear you perfectly.
Okay, so first of all, my brother was, so he did many things. He was also a car mechanic. He was a DJ. He was an brilliant academic. He also was a gardener. He was in charge also of the fruit trees and also of the gardens. Lately, he became in charge of the gardens in Cholit. And all of the things he did, he used for peace. He was a DJ, so he was a DJ of. He played almost entirely Arabic music from the Middle East, Palestine, Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt. He was a gardener, and he volunteered in Rahat, in the garden. Rahat is a Bedouin city in south of Israel, near Beersheba. And he also he was a volunteer in Mesafer Yatta, where Palestinians are suffering from displacement and terror from Israel, from settlers and soldiers. So he would go there and help them, protect them, and used his knowledge as a car mechanic to fix the 4x4 car of the volunteers. And as an academic, his research was about right wing in Israel and the dangers of right wing in Israel, extreme right wing. His thesis was on Rabbi Ginsburg, and then his doctorate he wrote about religious Zionism, where it's my family that we came from.
Noy, can you talk about what Israel is doing now? The constant bombardment of the Gaza Strip, forcing the dislocation of half the population, and what looks like an imminent ground invasion as a response to the brutality of Hamas on October 7th. Your thoughts and what you think your brother would have felt.
Okay, so I think the most thing that is bothering me is the lack of responsibility that governments in Israel are taking for many, many years. We can start it from '67 when Israel conquered Gaza Strip, and of course didn't give the citizens any citizenship or any rights. It was just a thought that, Palestinians don't need rights. I mean, they don't need basic rights. They'll be happy to be under our control. And sadly, don't know if sadly, but in 1987, so the uprising of the First Intifada, of course, proved that to be wrong. because Palestinians are also people, just like Jews and Israelis, and they want the same things like people, human beings want. Sadly, I don't think Israel is taking responsibility of anything. I mean, in 2005, we got out of Gaza and we're like, okay. I mean, we just throw it like we were never connected to it, and like, okay, let's just let them, like, no long process agreement, sustainable agreement. And sadly, after that, in the 10, 15 years, Israel is doing everything to strengthen Hamas in Gaza, just because it doesn't want um, a two-state solution. So it wants to divide between the Fatah and the Hamas. So this, of course, failed because also the Hamas is very terrible to the people in Gaza, especially LGBTs and women, which always suffer from right-wing religious government. And at the end, it of course came to us because we can put Gaza behind fences or whatever, but then the right-wing extremists of Hamas killed Israelis indiscriminately, civilians, and also my left brother, who, of course, it very makes sense, that right-wing kill left-wing people because they just don't care. They earn from the hate. They earn from the death. Now,
Noi, we just have
yes.
we just have about 30 seconds, and I wanted to ask you to tell us your message to the world today.
Okay, so what Israel is doing now is very clearly not it's not for the security of anyone, not the people in Israel, not the people of Gaza. Some people say, "Oh, it's Israel's. It's for the good of Gaza people because we're going to destroy Hamas." If it's not the case, so I think Israel should make sure all the citizens of Gaza, should have a safe place to be and maybe kill Hamas. But I don't think it's the real reason. The real reason is just revenge and killing and destruction of the failure of Israel to protect its citizens.